Hey Toolerinos, I've acquired a new grinder, bench grinder, in my latest Canton tool haul, and I decided I'm going to move this one that I have had and used for years, which I got from my grandfather. I'm going to move this on to my son for his shop. It being belt driven, it has an element of extra safety because if something gets jammed, especially a finger, the belt will slip. So it's a little bit safer for him to be using, especially when he's out there unattended. And it needs fixed up. It needs new bushings. It does not have ball bearings, but look how much play it has. But it still spins and it works, but we'll try to fix it up for him and get some new bushings on it. Alright, now this one, which I'm going to continue to use as the grinder and get a new fiber wheel. This is like a fiber wheel, but it doesn't really work very well. Chunks come flying off of it when you use it. I'm not sure what that's supposed to be, but it's not staying. But it does have a tiny bit of play in the bearing. I'm not sure if you'll be able to hear that or not, but it has a tiny little knock. But it runs pretty smooth. Let's plug it in. So it could use a little attention, but it still runs real strong. And that's going to be my grinder and fiber wheel. So, I know what you're thinking, where's the new one? Here it is. I know it doesn't look great, but man, is it nice. It's a deal, and the deal with deal is it was part of the Singer sewing machine company. Apparently they had a division for electric motors, and they made grinders. So this one is missing the guard on this side. Someone probably took it off, for the wire brush, and it never got put back on. But it's just a piece of steel in an arc, and then it has a long bolt here with these sort of offset spacers that clamp it together so that it grips onto the C shape. So I could put another one over here if I wanted to, but my plan is to put a coarse wire brush and a fine wire brush on it so that I have better wire brushing capability than what I have had with my old belt-driven one. That, and there are no tool rests with it. They're also missing. They would go on here. I need to add a switch. I need this cleaned up and a little paint so that it's more presentable, but it's going to be a great addition to the shop. And I say that because I can feel nothing. No clunk of any amount. No play at all in the bearing. And it spins just beautiful. And I want you to hear what it sounds like when I plug it in. Alright, ready? Look at that. It is so nice. It's not even walking around on the bench. There are no clamps or anything holding it in place. So how about that? I just love the way it sounds. It sounds powerful. It sounds well made. And, I expect to get a lot of use out of this yet. And here's a little, just a note, I suppose. I was chatting with Gunther's Garage about how his shop walls were so clear of decorations and things. And also he pointed out that there was no windows. And my shop has an abundance of windows This one used to go outside, now it goes into my son's shop. And you see they have equally spaced windows all around. And it's nice to have all the natural light in here, but it does seriously cut down on your wall space. So it makes it harder to put up useful things on the walls, or to make a tool wall with a bunch of tools to display. Anyway, windows are nice, but I think maybe it could be overdone. I think I'd like to have at least maybe one less window. Maybe two. Hey Toolerinos, here's a little small tool haul of 3 items that I managed to pick up at a house that was for sale that my parents went to see when they were house hunting. It was near where I live, so I went with them to see the house. And they had cleaned out almost everything. All the old tools and everything had already been sent to an auction. But I noticed there was still this old vise on a workbench in the garage. And I asked the man selling the house about it, and he said that he kept the bigger vise, but that he had just left this one to go with the house. And I told him, you know, you don't know who's going to buy this place. They might look at this greasy, oily, old vise and say, I don't want that piece of junk, get rid of that. So I convinced him to sell it to me. So for $20, I got this sweet old Colombian vise, C43.5. The handle has seen better days, but I think I can straighten that out. On the other side, it says Cleveland, Ohio, USA. So it's a pretty cool old vise. Has a nice anvil space, even has like a little hardy hole or a place to drive pins into, and a horn. It has certainly seen its use, but it still seems to work perfectly. So it is a great vise. So for 20 bucks, I got that vise and these 2 items here. I found this on the back of a shelf, and it is a vintage Wright 38 extension, Wright tool, and then also this brace, which he hadn't realized was still there, and he didn't want it, of course. And although it's rusty and dirty, everything still works. The chuck still works, and it's a very interesting, cool-looking chuck. And the ratchet mechanism works, and this spins, and this spins. Of course, it needs a good cleanup. But whenever I see one of these braces with an interesting chuck, I'm always interested to get it and look at it and do something with it, because the rest of it's always more or less the same, but the chucks always seem to have some difference to them. Somebody has patented a different system to hold a bit, and that's what interests me about it. And I will take this opportunity to say that I've decided I'm going to try to collect vintage Wright tools. Wright is in Barberton, Ohio, which is not far from me, and so I kind of feel drawn to those tools, and I have a small budding collection of them now, but if anyone out there has any in their stores and they don't feel particularly attached to them, or if you'd like to keep your eyes out for me, I'd appreciate it, so I can start to kind of build a collection of a specific brand.